Melody of Stardust. The old clock tower in Oakhaven chimed 6, its ancient bells echoing through the cobbled streets like a whispered secret. Alara, with her paint-splattered apron and a smudge of cerulean on her cheek, sighed, setting down her brush. Her small art studio, nestled above the Gilded Quill bookstore, was a sanctuary of creativity. Yet lately, it felt more like a gilded cage. She painted the vibrant landscapes of Oakhaven, the sun-drenched meadows, the whispering willow trees by the river. But a subtle melancholy had begun to seep into her canvases, a longing for something just beyond her reach. Alara was a creature of habit and quiet observation. Her days revolved around the rhythm of her art, the scent of turpentine, and the soft rustle of pages from the bookstore below. She found beauty in the mundane, in the way light fractured through stained glass, or how rain beaded on a spider's web. But beneath her serene exterior lay a heart that yearned for a connection as profound and vibrant as the colors she mixed on her palette. She often wondered if the kind of love she read about in the dusty romance novels downstairs truly existed, or if it was merely a figment of authors' imaginations, designed to fill the lonely spaces in quiet lives. One blustery Tuesday, a sudden gust of wind ripped through Oakhaven, tearing a sheaf of Alara's freshly sketched designs from her windowsill. They danced wildly in the air, like a flock of startled paper birds, before scattering across the street below. Frantic, Alara rushed downstairs, her heart pounding. As she emerged, a figure was already kneeling, carefully gathering the scattered sheets. He was tall, with windswept dark hair, and eyes the color of warm amber, currently crinkling at the corners as he smiled. "Looks like your muse decided to take flight," he chuckled, handing her the last sketch. His voice was a low, melodic rumble like distant thunder. Alara felt a blush creep up her neck. "Oh, thank you. They're quite important." She clutched the papers to her chest, acutely aware of the paint on her cheek.
"I can see that," he said, his gaze lingering on the intricate lines of her designs. "Are you the artist who paints those incredible Oakhaven landscapes? I've admired them in the gallery window." "That would be me," Alara managed, surprised he knew her work. "Alara Thorne, Liam Vance," he replied, extending a hand. His grip was firm, warm. "I'm a photographer, just passing through. Your work captures the soul of this place." Their eyes met, and in that brief moment, something shifted. It wasn't a dramatic spark, but a quiet hum, like two perfectly tuned instruments finding their harmony. Liam, with his adventurous spirit and keen eye for capturing fleeting moments, was the antithesis of Alara's rooted, contemplative nature. Yet, there was an undeniable pull, a curiosity that transcended their differences. Liam, it turned out, was indeed just passing through. He was on a cross-country journey, capturing the unseen beauty of small towns. He had stumbled upon Oakhaven by chance, drawn by the unique quality of its light. He had planned to stay only a few days, but the encounter with Alara, and the quiet allure of her art, made him reconsider. Their initial conversations were tentative, revolving around art and light, composition and color. Alara found herself opening up to him in ways she hadn't with anyone before. Liam listened intently, his amber eyes reflecting her words, making her feel truly seen. He spoke of capturing the melody of stardust in his photographs, the hidden magic in everyday scenes. Alara, in turn, shared her philosophy of painting, how she tried to imbue her canvases with the emotions she felt, not just what she saw. One afternoon, Liam invited Alara to join him on a photo walk. "I want to see Oakhaven through your eyes," he said, his voice soft. They spent hours wandering through the whispering woods, by the winding river, and through the town's vibrant market square. Liam pointed out the way sunlight filtered through ancient oak leaves, creating dappled patterns on the forest floor, or the subtle nuances of expression on the faces of the market vendors. Alara, usually focused on grander compositions, found herself noticing the delicate curl of a fern, the intricate weave of a bird's nest, the fleeting smile of a child. Liam's presence made the familiar world around her seem new, vibrant, and full of hidden wonders. He had a way of making her feel like the most interesting person in the world, his genuine curiosity a balm to her often reserved nature. Liam, in turn, was captivated by Elara's quiet passion. He watched her sketch, her brow furrowed in concentration, her hand moving with an almost ethereal grace. He saw the world through her art, a world brimming with emotion and unspoken stories. He discovered her subtle humor, her unexpected bursts of laughter, and the deep well of empathy that resided within her. He learned about her dream of one day exhibiting her work beyond Oakhaven, a dream she had kept tucked away, fearing it was too grand. Their evenings were spent in the Gilded Quill, sipping tea amidst the comforting scent of old paper and ink. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives, their dreams, their fears. Liam spoke of his nomadic existence, the bittersweet freedom of never staying in one place for too long, but also the quiet loneliness that sometimes accompanied it. Elara confessed her fear of leaving Oakhaven, of venturing into the unknown, a fear that had kept her rooted despite her artistic aspirations. Yet, with Liam, the idea of the unknown felt less daunting, almost exciting. As days bled into weeks, their connection deepened. Liam started leaving small gifts for Elara, a perfectly smooth riverstone, a pressed wildflower, a rare art book he found in a dusty antique shop. Elara, in turn, began to paint him, not a portrait, but the essence of him, the warmth of his eyes, the adventurous spirit she saw in his stance, the way his presence filled her studio with a quiet, comforting energy. She called the series Amber Light, but the unspoken truth hung between them like a fragile thread. Liam was a traveler. His camera was his compass, and the open road, his home. He had mentioned moving on soon, a casual comment that had sent a pang through Elara's heart. She tried to ignore it, to simply bask in the present, but the thought of him leaving was a persistent ache. One rainy afternoon, Liam found Elara staring out her studio window, her palette untouched. "Something's on your mind," he observed, his voice gentle. Elara turned, her eyes clouded. "You're leaving soon, aren't you?" The words came out in a whisper, barely audible over the drumming rain. A knot tightened in Elara's stomach. And then, he shrugged, a hint of melancholy in his eyes. "Another town, another story. That's how it's always been." "And what about us?" Elara asked, her voice trembling, surprising even herself with the directness of her question. Liam walked over to her, his hand gently cupping her cheek. "Elara, you know I've never felt this way about anyone. You've brought a color into my life I didn't know was missing. But my life is on the road. I don't know how to ask you to give up your roots. Your studio, everything you love here." Elara pulled away, a sudden chill replacing the warmth of his touch. "And I don't know how to ask you to stay, to give up your freedom. We're two different worlds, aren't we? A rooted tree and a migratory bird." Her voice was laced with a pain she hadn't realized was so profound. She had always believed that love meant compromise, but this felt like asking one of them to fundamentally change who they were. Over the next few days, a quiet tension settled between them. Their conversations became strained, filled with unspoken anxieties. Elara retreated into her art, painting with a desperate fervor, trying to capture the beauty of Oakhaven as if to solidify her place there, to convince herself she couldn't leave. Liam, too, spent more time alone, his camera silent, his usual adventurous spirit dimmed. The melody of Stardust had become a discordant note. The day before Liam was set to leave, Elara received a package. Inside was a small, intricately carved wooden bird, its wings outstretched as if in flight. Attached was a note in Liam's familiar hand. "A migratory bird always finds its way back to its nest. Meet me at the old clock tower at sunset. I have something to show you." Her heart pounded with a mixture of hope and trepidation. She arrived at the clock tower just as the last rays of sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple. Liam was there, not with his camera, but with a small, worn leather-bound journal. "Elara," he began, his voice earnest, "I've been doing a lot of thinking. About us, about what you said to different worlds." He opened the journal. Inside were sketches, not of landscapes, but of people. And page after page, there were sketches of her. Her profile as she painted, her laugh lines, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about art. I started this journal when I first met you, he confessed, his voice thick with emotion. I've always captured the world, but you made me want to capture a life, our life. He closed the journal, his gaze unwavering. I can't ask you to leave Oakhaven, Lara, not permanently, but I can make Oakhaven my home base. I can travel, yes, but I can always come back to you, to us, and maybe, he reached out, taking her hand, maybe sometimes, you'd want to join me on an adventure or two? We could capture the world together, through your art and my lens. A rooted tree with strong branches.